I've been coaching baseball now for 20 years. Been working with hitters at various levels, all the way from professional to major college to high school. And you know what? It's time to revolutionize the hitters and let the hitters start taking over the game. The pitchers are the part of the game that dominate, and I think the hitters should do that. This is the tee that you can buy, and you can purchase this at any sporting goods store. But you know what? There's a problem with this tee. As you can see, the spindle is right in the middle of the plate. Pitchers are not taught to pitch the ball down the middle of the plate. They're taught to throw the ball on the inside part and the outside part. We as hitters need a better tee, and I've developed a better tee. This tee is a dinosaur. We don't need it anymore. This tee is a thing of the past. In fact, what we need to do with this tee is we need to throw it away and not use it. This is the Tmate, the tee of the future. It's lightweight, it's portable, and it's durable, and it's very easy to put together. Let me show you how to do it. You simply take off the base spindle first, and then the other spindle is actually the two T's that you're going to see. Both of these spindles are attached to a clamp on the base of the plate. You slide in the base spindle, then simply slide the double T part down into the base spindle and tighten up the knob in the base. I know you're excited and ready to start using your Tmate, but before we do that, let me go over some very important information for you. The first thing that I want to do is I want to tell you the 4 phases of the swing. The first phase is the stance. The stance is extremely important. However, don't get hung up too much in your stance. There's all kinds of different stances in the major leagues. For example, Pete Rose has a stance similar to this. John Kruk would be standing up in this position up here. Ruben Sierra also standing with his hands up. Tony Gwynn would be down in this position. So as you can see, there's all kinds of different stances for major league hitters, and their feet will determine what kind of stance they have. If you stand up to the plate and you put your bat down and touch both parts of your toes, and you can see that the bat is parallel with the plate. That is called a square stance. Another stance that you might have is called a closed stance. That is when your front foot is slightly in front of your back foot. Again, get your stance to the plate, lay the bat down, and you will see that your feet are closed to the plate. The last stance that you can have is called an open stance, which is just the opposite of the closed stance. Your front foot, in this case, is going to be further away from the plate than your back foot. So if you put the bat down, you will see that you have an open stance. Those are the 3 stances that all hitters can have. And it's very important that you know which of those 3 that you use. The second phase is without a question the most important phase of the swing, and that is the stride. All good hitters have to have a stride that allows them to prepare their swing. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, in phase 2, in my stride, when my front foot leaves the ground, that starts phase 2. I am preparing my swing. I stride, and at the same time my front foot starts to move, my hands have to do something, and that is they go back and up slightly. When that front foot hits the ground, my hands have to be in a good preparatory position in order to hit. Pete Rose, his stance was like this. When he took his stride, his hands went back and up. John Kruk would stand with his hands in phase 1 up in this position. When he took his stride, his hands would go back and down into the same position that Pete Rose was when his front foot hit the ground. One more example of a stance. Tony Gwynn, one of the greatest hitters of all time, and Rod Carew, a Hall of Famer. They both start with their hands down in phase one in this position. And when they take their stride, their hands go back and up and in the exact same position as Pete Rose and John Kruk. Phase three is the actual swinging of the bat and making contact. From phase two, remember, the hands were back in a good hitting position, and also your front foot had just hit the ground. I take my hands down to the baseball, and at the same time I pop my hips and make contact. Phase three, notice that first of all I'm making contact off of my front foot, and that's one tremendous advantage of the Tmate. The Tmate allows you to make contact in the proper position. I'm making contact right now off my front foot. If I had that dinosaur tee, I couldn't be doing this. There's no way. My front leg is also firm. At phase three, when I make contact, my front leg is firm. When I finish the swing and get into phase four, I'll show you what happens to that front leg. All right, now we've made contact and we've actually hit the baseball, but what do we do with that baseball? We have to finish the swing, and that's phase four. Once again, we've made contact. Our front leg is firm. I'm making contact off my front foot, not out in front, not too far back. And now after I make contact, I have good extension through the baseball, and notice what happens to the firm front leg as I finish the swing. As the swing is finished, the front leg collapses naturally on its own, allowing me to transfer my weight forward so I can get the most out of the carry of the baseball. Let me recap the four phases of the swing. Remember, phase one, your stance. Square, closed, and open. You need to know which stance fits you best. Phase two, again, let me reiterate, the most important phase of the swing. When I take my stride, my hands go back, my front foot leaves the ground. When my front foot hits the ground, my hands are back in a good preparatory motion ready to start phase three. Phase three is when I start my swing. I take my hands down to the baseball, and at the same time I pop my hips and make contact off my front foot with my front leg pretty firm. Phase four is the finish of the swing, the extension through the ball, and my front leg will collapse naturally, allowing me to transfer my weight and get the maximum carry of the baseball. When I'm working with hitters, I always pose a couple questions to them. The first question is, why do you stride? What is the purpose of the stride? Most good hitters, in fact all major league hitters, actually start their stride before the pitcher even releases the baseball. Most hitters stride and swing at the same time. Remember, the purpose of your stride is to set up your swing, not to actually swing. If you think the purpose of your stride is to start your swing, you're going to be out in front. You're going to have trouble hitting the breaking ball. Your entire body's going to be going forward, and that's not what we want. We want to stride, hands go back, and prepare your swing, and when that front foot hits the ground, the ball is still not at home plate. The other question I ask them is, how much time do you think you have to actually swing the bat when the pitcher releases the baseball to the point that it reaches home plate? I've done some research on the pitchers. It takes 4/10 of a second for the average major league fastball to travel 60 feet 6 inches at 85 miles an hour. That's how long that is. But do you have 4/10 of a second to swing the bat? No, simply because your brain has to tell your hands what to do. Your brain has to tell you where the pitch is and what the pitch is. So you got 2/10 of a second, that's how much that time is, to actually swing the bat. I'm a left-handed hitter. The majority of you people out there are right-handed hitters. The stance, the follow-through, all of the things I've already explained to you will fit for right-handed hitters the same as they do for left-handed hitters. I'm going to show you the 4 drills now, and if you use these drills, with your teammate, I guarantee you can hit any pitcher. You'll notice that during the drills that the tee is set up at a level that is down in the lower part of the strike zone. Make sure that that tee is set up down fairly low, in fact all the way down if possible, because that's the low pitch that's down around the knees, and that's where the pitcher's going to throw the ball to you. To set up the tee for that first hitting drill, I want to isolate on the inside pitch alone. I simply loosen the knob, move the spindle, and now you can see we've moved the tee to the inside pitch. The first drill is a very simple drill. You're only going to use one tee on this drill. So what you do is you take a baseball and you put it on one particular tee. In this case, I'm going to work on the inside pitch. I'm having trouble hitting the inside pitch, so I want to work on this. I'm going to take about 25 swings every single day on this particular drill alone. I want to set the ball up again where I take my stance and I take my stride. I want to make sure that I make contact out on my front foot, all right? And so I'm going to work on simply taking a slow stride, and now at the same time that I take my stride, I'm working on my hands, getting my hands back. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and swing and work on good follow-through and good weight transfer. Single tee. You can't do this with that other tee that I showed you, the dinosaur tee. There's no way, because that tee's in the middle of the plate. I'm going to work on one pitch, and that's the inside pitch. Again, 25 swings a day is all you need on this particular drill. The second drill will allow you as a hitter to work on taking your hands down in the proper position. In my various hitting camps, I noticed one common fault that a lot of young hitters have, and that's swinging up, uppercutting on the ball. I've devised a drill for you that will allow you to have instant feedback as far as whether you're swinging up on the ball or taking your hands down in the proper position. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I take my hands down in the proper position, I should be able to make contact on this pitch and not hit that baseball at all. If I swing improperly, I'm going to drop my shoulder, and I'm going to end up hitting that back baseball first, and that's not what I want to do. So the teammate will give me feedback and allow me to know whether I'm uppercutting. If I swing properly, it looks like that. I make contact and do not hit that back baseball. If I swing improperly and drop my shoulder at all, here's what happens. And that tells me that I have dropped my shoulder. Great drill using the Tmate. The third drill is what I call the extension drill. Put two baseballs on the tees. Simply rotate the spindle to the similar position that you had for drill 2. Now I want to work on making contact on this back baseball. I need to move back slightly on this drill and make sure that when I take my stride, my front foot is right where that back baseball is. And I'm going to have good extension through the ball and drive through it. My weight will transfer, and I'll make contact on both baseballs, telling me that I have transferred my weight properly. Now, if I don't have good extension, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to hit that first baseball, but I'm going to cut it off, and that last baseball is not going to be hit. I'm going to hit that back baseball, but I'm going to end up cutting it off and not extend it properly and fall backwards. The front leg will stay straight, and I'll miss that forward baseball. This is where the instant feedback of the teammate tells me that I did not extend properly. Now, whenever you're working on this, drills, it's very important that you also think about all the different things that I've been talking about. You must make sure that your hands go back into phase 2. You must make sure that you have a nice slow stride. If I got a slow stride, I'm going to be able to set my hands up in a proper position. So I have slow feet, which will create quick hands. If I got fast feet, I'm going to have slow hands. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I take a fast stride, that's going to have a tendency to make my hands go forward, and now I'm going to be in a real poor hitting position. And we have a lot of problems with that, trying to hit a breaking ball, getting out in front of a pitch. Don't get in a hurry and just try to make contact on these balls and think you're doing the right thing. You have to know what you're doing. It's very important that you also concentrate on your stance and know what kind of stance you have, where the baseball is in relationship to your front foot. All of those things are extremely important. The fourth drill is really my favorite, and that's called the in-out drill. To set up the tee for the in-out drill, what you need to do is move the spindles so you have an inside pitch and you have an outside pitch. It's extremely important that the partner watches the front foot, and as soon as he sees any movement at all with that front foot leaving the ground, he's got to say in or out as soon as he sees movement. He can't wait until that foot is in the air. So I'm going to get into my stance. When my front foot leaves the ground, starting phase 2, soon as that front foot leaves the ground, my partner will tell me in or he'll tell me out. If he says in, my mind has to tell my hands to hit that inside pitch. If he tells me out, again, my mind, my brain will tell my hands to hit that outside pitch. That's exactly what happens in a game, and that's the main purpose of this particular drill, and that's what's great about this Tmate. The inside pitch is hit off my front foot. The outside pitch is now made contact about 8 to 10 inches behind the front pitch. So my partner is going to be watching my front foot, and he's concentrating on the front foot. All right, let's try it.
In. Out. In. Out.
Those are the 4 drills. All you got to do, 25 swings on each drill, 100 swings a day, 500 a week. You can do more if you want, but I guarantee you that you're going to become a better hitter. You're going to feel better about yourself, and that pitcher's not going to get you out as much. I also guarantee you I'll send your money back if you don't become a better hitter. I'm Lonnie Keeter. Enjoy working with your Tmate.